starting with the FaZe clan. If you don't know, I'm just going to detail the details that I know for right now. We're going to be watching a video trying to educate myself about the FaZe clan situation. What I know about the FaZe clan recently: FaZe Rain, FaZe Temper, specifically FaZe Banks, talking about Temper, I believe, having relations with a minor. Okay, none of the stuff we talk about today is funny. I'm not gonna be making jokes. It's taken seriously. And I'm just gonna be looking at the information that is presented to me, forming my own opinions. I hope you form your own opinions. Don't take the opinion of somebody and just roll with it, okay? But from what I know, Rain accused Temper of having relations with a minor, had messages or whatnot. I'm not very well versed in it. That's why we're going to be watching the video today. Apparently Banks is involved as well. I don't really understand his involvement, but the video I'm watching: FaZe clan destroyed by disturbing allegations 5 days ago at Kavos. Let's get into it.
Another day on the internet, another pedophile allegation. This time, FaZe clan are in complete disarray. The things that took place yesterday between FaZe Rain, FaZe Banks, and the accused FaZe Temper was just absolutely insane. So this all started.
I do want to say before, like, I don't really know Temper or Rain like that, or even really Banks. So
Started when FaZe Rain, ex-member of FaZe clan, went on stream saying that the reason he left was because there was some weirdo behavior in FaZe and that he didn't fuck with it.
I want to put everything to do with me and FaZe to rest, bro, because there is so much I haven't said. And
so isn't Rain, and I might be wrong here, but I thought Rain is in FaZe currently, and he just said leave FaZe. Did he leave and join back, or maybe he'll explain that? But I thought Rain was in FaZe currently.
honestly, at this point, bro, I don't give a I think I'm going to collect my thoughts tomorrow and I'm going to say everything, bro. Every single thing that I know, everything. Everything. And I'm going to collect my thoughts because I have an eidetic memory, so I remember everything and anything. You know what I'm saying? And there's bad shit because a lot of people don't even know why I left FaZe. I wasn't even pushed out. I left. There's a fucking pedophile involved too, bro. I don't give a fuck if I get sued. I could give a fuck less. I always stand up for what's right. That was the final straw, bro. That was the final fucking straw. But I've been fucked up over that pedo shit for like 2 years, bro. But I haven't said nothing about it. I haven't said shit. Somebody I grew up with. Somebody I always loved.
And instantly people are trying to find out who is the freak.
So, okay. Only a minute in, but I just want to get it straight. So, people thought he got kicked from FaZe, but he left FaZe because of another member apparently, allegedly being in actions with minors. But that he said 2 years ago. So I don't understand that. If you left over that, why are you talking about it right now? Is what I don't understand. But I'm gonna assume he's gonna get into that. But if you left the organization because somebody had those allegations, or you saw that happening, why? I don't understand why you would wait 2 years to speak about it. But maybe he'll explain that.
Who is this sick person that Rain is accusing? Well, everyone rushed to FaZe Banks saying that it was FaZe Banks and it had to be him. He responded with a 9-minute video talking about how it wasn't him and revealing that the person Rain is talking about is FaZe Temper.
Okay. So weird people on the internet heard that and then immediately assumed it was somebody that it wasn't, which that's what the internet is. A bunch of people who don't know what's going on, but they assume things. So people put allegations on Banks, and then Banks said, made a video, it's not me, which that's what people on the internet do. They're fucking weird. People, oh my gosh, wow. I'm not even going to get into that, but to accuse somebody of something, especially something like having relations with a minor, just because you think, you don't know anything, is just wrong and fucked up. But that's the internet, and that's what people do. I don't know.
First thing I'm going to say in this video is I'm
Banks'
not
response.
Rain is not talking about me. There, I got it out. It's a very heavy accusation. It's a
It
life-shattering, life-altering accusation, and that's
true.
why it's so heavy. Got a phone call about a year ago from FaZe Rain, or a text rather. He's kind of going off just about all the reasons why he's upset with FaZe, hates FaZe, doesn't fuck with FaZe, and he brings up that somebody's a pedophile. Nobody gives a fuck and nobody wants to talk about it. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Call him. He's like, Banks, don't play dumb. We talked about this before. I'm like, Norden, pause. You're saying that FaZe Temper is a pedophile, which that is who he's talking about in the clip.
Okay.
And there's a story and we're going to get into it. I'm like, whoa, that's Tommy. That's our brother. This is who we started this FaZe shit with. I'm calling him. That was the first thing I said. I'm calling him and I'm calling Apex because apparently this is something Apex is aware of as well. Norden and Tommy, or Norden and Apex are the closest on the team. So obviously, if Norden's going to talk to anybody about anything and be transparent, it's Apex. So I patched Tommy and Apex in the call immediately, and we sit on this phone call and we talk for a long time. We were on the phone probably for at least an hour, maybe even fucking 2 hours on the phone talking about this. And Tommy's first initial knee-jerk reaction to all this shit was, "What the fuck are you talking about?" Norden, no, this is not what the conversation was like. You're misremembering, you're misinterpreting. Obviously, Rain is coming back, standing firm on the fact that, no, you did say this. I do believe that you did this, whatever. This conversation I'm describing to you guys is a phone call from a year ago, but Tommy and FaZe Rain had a conversation between themselves years ago. I might be misremembering it, but I think it was 3-4 years ago they talked about this, and that's how long these guys have been sitting on that for. So this gets brought up years later. It's obviously a very heavy accusation. Yeah, what can you do in that situation? The way we left that phone call off was, let's get to the bottom of this, let's handle it. I mean, Rain's talking about making videos, Rain's talking about this, and nobody's telling him not to. I mean, obviously, Tommy's like, bro, this isn't true, you're gonna fucking ruin my life. Tommy, for the record, is married, lives in the Midwest, has a kid, and is pretty much more or less off this internet shit. So, you know, the implications, the ramifications rather, this has on his life, it's life-shattering, you know what I'm saying? It's fucked.
That's true.
And I don't, for the record, also, I don't necessarily have any reason to believe that Tommy is a predator, pedophile. If that were the case, I wouldn't be following him. He would not be my homie. I would have spoken about this to some degree or handled it to some degree to a point where I was satisfied with the result. But this was a thing between Norden and Tommy, and Tommy's response was, "You're bugging, you're tripping. This is not true."
He says that there was some...
Okay. Whoa. Okay, there was a lot there. So, apparently Rain found out about it, or at least he thought he did, a long time ago, years ago, and he didn't say anything to the other FaZe guys for a couple years. But then, from what Banks was saying, it seemed like he randomly one day decided to talk about it, which, to me, if it's something like that and it's eating you up so much, I don't understand why you would wait years to do that. And even if Temper explained himself years ago, if those are your friends and it's something that eats you up like that, I feel like you would have a conversation about that with everyone involved, not just you two. But, I mean, I don't know. And also, if that conversation made you believe that he didn't do it, and that's why you waited so long to say it to the others, even then, clearly that conversation didn't make you believe him because you brought it up again. You wouldn't have brought it up again if you thought he told the truth the first time. And so I don't understand why you wouldn't bring it up with the other guys sooner instead of waiting years. And then coming back again, I mean now, which is another year after you had that conversation with all the FaZe members. And like Banks is saying, apparently, at least in his perspective, he didn't have any evidence saying that he did do that. So I don't understand why he's talking about it again now. Is what I don't understand.
Some sort of phone call, but he doesn't remember.
And also he has, so far, I mean, I'm only less than 5 minutes in, but there hasn't been any evidence saying that he did do it. And Banks in that conversation didn't say that he presented any evidence to them to say that Temper did do that. So
he doesn't believe that Tommy was a creep or a predator. So, you know, I came away from this video from Banks thinking that FaZe Rain was kind of lying or not telling the truth. This goes a lot further and deeper, but the way FaZe Banks describes it, and I think with what's come out now, is not full transparency, and we're gonna find that out.
Okay. Well, show me the full not transparency.
Real quick. So after Banks' statement, Rain gets on stream to just fully air everything out now because he feels like Banks is lying. He is accusing Temper of sleeping with 2 16-year-old girls. If that's true, that is just fucked. That's noncy behavior. You can try justify it, the classic, oh, Asia consent here, Asia consent. Yeah, you can do that. But if it's true, people are going to think you're a fucking nonce because that shit does not...
Well, like Banks said, he has a wife and a child as well. So there's also that aspect.
Not fly. This was Rain's response to Banks and airing everything out.
This dude looks me in my eyes and says, bro, I'm not going to lie. I had a threesome with 2 16-year-olds. I'm like, bro, what? Like, how could you tell me that after I'm telling you the 3 rules I have to why I'll never have your back as a friend? On my mother's heartbeat. That's what he said. He looked me in the eyes and he said that. I told Banks and I told Apex immediately. I even told Lee Trink. I have text with fucking Lee Trink.
Okay.
It was right before everything fucking blew up with the SPAC and FaZe went public and whatnot. And he dropped me off home and we haven't talked since. That's why you guys are always like, bro, why don't you play CS with him? Why don't you play this with him? I don't want to say it, bro. I feel fucking bad. I feel bad. I know it's wrong. I know what he did is wrong, but I just hope people can understand like what it's like to have somebody you've known for half your life that you love, that you hope that your kids would have been friends and shit like that. Like, I don't know. It made me sad, bro. It broke my fucking heart. I didn't even want to bring this up, Banks. I didn't. I didn't even want to bring your name up in this, bro. But you made that video. I don't know if we're about to watch it in a little bit, but it's just, you lied in that video. You're making shit up. Bro, even that tweet that you posted under, I screenshotted in case you deleted it because I just don't trust you, bro. And I don't trust what you said there. You said some bullshit at the end of that tweet. What'd you say? You said, here, let's pull it up here. Like you said, call concluded and Tommy didn't admit to it. Yes, he did. And you called me and you said, bro, this is so fucking bad. This is so fucking bad. He said he's gonna kill himself if this shit ever comes out. And that's why I feel extra fucking bad, bro. That's why I feel extra fucking bad. You told me he would kill himself if it came out. And you guilted me into not doing it. You guilted me into not saying it because you're like, if he kills himself, that's gonna be on you. And you made me feel horrible for that. So I don't know what the fuck to do, bro. And I had an epiphany yesterday. I'm like, bro, why have I been holding this information for this guy for 2 years? But I know he doesn't give a fuck about me. He doesn't give a fuck about anything that happened. It's just I felt bad. Why do I always feel so bad for people?
Quite frankly, yeah, this is something...
Okay. Hold up. Okay. So just to rehash once again. So far, there hasn't been any evidence at all. And maybe there will be because it's such a big deal. But as of right now, he said one day he just had a conversation and Temper looked him in his face and said that he did that with 2 16-year-olds. I'm struggling to understand why somebody would do that. Why you would just look in your friend's face and do that. And if he did do that, it would probably be because he had guilt for doing it. So why would you not just admit to doing it to everybody? And also, according to Rain, that call was not years after him and Temper talked, which is what Banks said. Which, obviously, to me, that makes more sense. I don't know if Temper is currently in FaZe or not. So, if they were not to say something, I would understand now not to say nothing. But back then, I don't understand why, if all of you knew, and like Rain said, he admitted to it, you wouldn't say something. Or you wouldn't at least kick him out of FaZe. You don't need to give a reason why you kicked him out during the time. But you kept him as a business partner, as a representative of your organization this whole time, knowing that happened. Which I don't understand. I just don't think that's smart in any way. Not from a business perspective or a moral perspective, anything. But let's move on. Let's see it. But also, there hasn't been any evidence yet, so
people
there's
should
a lot of
know
time left.
if
Show me
it's
some
true.
evidence.
Like, this is unacceptable. Well, Temper comes out firstly with this video calling out Rain, saying he's disgusting. His accusations are not true. How could he even do this?
The fact that I'm even having to respond to this and to that my name is in the same breath as the word pedophile is so sick, twisted, and insane. This is disgusting. Anybody that knows me knows I'm not that type of person. I am the furthest thing from what you called me. And I will never be that person. It's so mind-blowing that someone that I really built a brotherhood with, someone that I really considered a brother, that I invited to my baby shower, that I always looked after and took care. And then when you were going through your darkest days, I was there for you and I was making sure that you were good. When you were in a wheelchair for 2 years and like I was so gutted at the fact that like you couldn't walk again. And then all of a sudden you were able to walk again. And I was the happiest person in the room. There wasn't a single soul that was happier for you than me. Brother, I have known you since you were 14 years old, talking to me about when you were suicidal in these Skype chats, and I was there for you then. And I've been there for you this whole time. You talked about how I rated you the other day, even though when you first brought this up a year ago, and I believe that you brought it up just for money purposes, that you wanted money out of FaZe. Like you stated that a year ago in the conversation with me, Banks and Apex. You stated if you don't get paid that, you're going to air this out. That is blackmail. This is not like, you know who I am. You know the type of person I am. I am not what you called me. I'm fucking gutted, bro, and I'm pissed that you even put my name in that light, because now all I care about is my family, bro. Like my biggest concern is my family, my wife, and my kid. Now my kid has to grow up and see this, then see that his father is in the same, that my name is in the same light as what you just called me. It's fucking sick. When I bring my son to school, right, and the other parents get to figure out who his dad is, and now they're associating me with that word. You don't even understand the levels of damage that you just inflicted into my life, into my family's life, into everything that I built. I have put my heart and my soul into FaZe Clan in ways that you and Banks and Apex know more than anybody. I brought you guys on because you guys deserved it, and I felt like you deserved it, and I broke bread with you completely. Split the company with you. And made sure that you were good. And even at times where like you were trashing the company, I still stood out for you and I still said he should still get paid. And I was looking out for you, you know? And I wanted you, and even throughout all this stuff, like in a way, I wanted you back in, even though you said this. And that just goes to show you my heart. You know, I'm disgusted by your actions, by the person you've become. You haven't always been this way. You're a really nice kid. I don't know what happened, what got into you.
You know, he's kind of just playing I was always...
Okay. So he admitted in that video that they had a call, which was a year ago, apparently, not 4 years ago, which is what Banks said. But every party has said there was a call between the four members, Banks, Rain, Temper, and Apex, about him having relations with minors. So that, to me, that shows me that call happened. And I don't think, in my opinion, that somebody would call their friends, especially if what he's saying, Rain and him have both talked about how they had a very close relationship, that you would call all your members and put allegations like that onto somebody that you see as a really good friend, even for money. Because, I mean, at that point in your career, I understand people do a lot of things for money, but if you're that close with somebody, and at that point in your career, Rain is already successful. If it was a year ago, even if it was 4 years ago, you're already successful in your career. So to me, the idea of oh, you're doing that so FaZe pays you. Well, you're a part owner of FaZe. So I don't understand why you would be asking more money from FaZe, or you would be doing it for money when it's somebody that is your friend. Even if it was somebody that's not your friend, even if you're just business partners and you really hate each other off the camera. Like, I can't understand why he would do that for money, and how he would come up with the conclusion of to say that specifically as a lie, right? And he kind of tiptoed around the fact that they did have that call. He said it real quick and then just kind of moved on. And then just kept saying we were close. I mean, he kind of didn't really say anything. Like, I don't know. I mean, I haven't seen any evidence that he has done anything.
It's there
But
if you
it
can't.
is
How
weird
can you
to
do
me.
this to me? And denying any wrongdoing. It all comes crumbling down for FaZe Temper because the heat gets a bit too hot. Before we get into Temper's second response, Banks jumps on the stream with FaZe Rain, and they talk about this stuff, and it becomes quite clear that Rain's story has a lot more credibility than Banks was giving credit for in his initial response video.
Okay.
The only two people that could possibly know what you guys said in that call to each other are you and Tommy.
Yeah.
Obviously. It's like, again.
No, but
it's
he
as
did
heavy-
admit it in the call with.
So, okay. So once again, they're talking about the call between Rain and Tommy, just them two. Which Temper didn't talk about at all. He didn't mention that call just between those two. Which I don't understand. I don't understand that. I don't understand. I don't understand the timeline of when this is happening. I'm just gonna keep watching.
With us for. He did. He did say, yeah, she was
Hold
17. The other one was watching.
Yeah. He talked about New York, 17, law.
Yes.
I don't. But
Yeah,
I just
you
remember
called
guys-
me
I just
after and you
remember
said,
guys arguing- I just remember you guys arguing back and
Hold up. Wait. Hold up. Okay. Wait, I need to hear that again.
yeah,
hey, yeah, she was 17. The other one was watching.
yeah. He talked about New York, 17, law.
Yes.
I don't. But
Yeah,
I just
you
remember
called
guys-
me
I just
after and you
remember
said,
guys arguing- I just remember you guys arguing back and forth, and I just remember it being fucking crazy.
So there we get a confirmation from Banks
Okay, wait. All right, I'm gonna let him talk, and then I'm gonna talk.
that he did in fact hear that Temper slept with, now it's a 17-year-old, and Rain said the other one, who was either 17 or 16, was watching. This was not clearly portrayed in Banks' initial response, that he heard
No.
this was something that was actually talked about. And now on stream, we actually get someone else, Banks, another witness, who confirmed this conversation did take place. And FaZe Rain has had a history of, you know, I don't like saying it like this, but just for the sake of this, going off the rails a little bit and making these kind of sporadic videos, let's say. So it's a lot easier to cast doubt on him, which I felt Banks' initial response did. Whereas now, oh, we're getting to the bottom of things a little bit here.
he said it was a 3.
Okay. Hold up. Okay. So, in the conversation, on the call with all of, I'm assuming in the call with all of them. Which, first off, initially, Rain said that he said he had a threesome with 2 minors. And then he said here that he had one girl watching, and then he was with another one. And then he said that during that conversation with all of them, Temper brought up the fact of the law in New York that 17 is the age of consent. Which both Banks and Rain seem to both agree on when he said that. So, I want to see what they say here. I want to see what they say right here.
Threesome with a 16-year-old when it was a single with a 17 and one was watching. God knows why he lied and said it was a threesome. God knows why. Especially when I'm telling him how.
Okay, so Rain just said, so Rain just brought up, I'm assuming in the initial conversation, that's why I just said threesome and then it was different. So Rain is now saying that he lied, and Rain did say that he said it to his face when he said he had a threesome with the 2 16-year-olds, which is what he said. He said 2 16-year-olds, we had a threesome together. That's what Rain said earlier initially. And now he's saying, and I'm assuming that conversation took place in person, and then this later conversation was over the phone call, which Baines and Temper and Rain, all three have said that that conversation did take place. Okay? And he changed it to one was watching and he was doing it with one, apparently, according to Rain. But let's move on.
Fucking demonic and evil that shit is, and how I'll never have your back. That's what he said. It's what he fucking said. Okay? So then he goes in the.
Hold up. Go
God
back.
knows why he lied and said it was a threesome. God knows why. Especially
Okay.
when I'm telling him how fucking demonic and evil that shit is, and how I'll never have your back. That's what he said. It's what he fucking said. Okay? So then he goes in the call that we had after with me, you, Apex, Tommy, and he said it was a 17-year-old. He admitted it, bro. He did. And then he said, if this shit ever comes out, bro, I have a kid now, I have a wife, I'll kill myself. And you called me after, you're like, bro, he's never talked like that. Please don't do it, bro. I don't want him to fucking kill himself.
I do remember
Yeah.
that, by the way.
Yeah.
That's
And
is
again,
true,
bro,
and that-
nobody,
they
like,
call you
I get
tap
people
ever
are on your fucking
heard.
dick, but they're wrong for that too, brother. There is absolutely zero proof on this man. He never told me anything of him doing any shit like that. We're talking about Tommy here.
So now we get more insight that apparently Temper was emotionally blackmailing them to not release anything. What we do have confirmation of is that Banks heard the phone calls. He
Of
was
him.
there. Temper did admit to sleeping with someone who was underage. So after Temper denied, any wrongdoing, kind of trying to make Rain look bad for even touching on this, Temper gives his final response, which is a hell of a lot different.
Okay, I want to
his
hear that. I want to hear the final. I want to hear the final before I make any more judgment.
My private life is being aired out for public entertainment, and I'm being
That's a crazy way to
forced into
start it.
an impossible situation. So now, one day, my children are going to see this video, and they're going to know about, sexual experiences and the type of person that I was before I met their mother.
Okay.
And let's just start at the top. So a lot of what Norton was saying of the type of person that I was is true. Not all of it. I was a reckless kid. I was very misguided. I was in and out of relationships.
He didn't say any of that. He didn't talk about you being a reckless kid or you being in and out of relationships at all.
And
But
I didn't know any
okay.
better, right? And so one day,
didn't know any better.
I met Emma, and Emma was the love of my life. Like this, I fell in love with this girl, and I wanted to marry this girl, and I never had wanted to marry anybody before that. I never wanted to get married, and I was just blown away. So this is the girl that I wanted to spend the rest of my life with, but because of all the baggage that I had, and all the shit that I went through, and just the person that I was, I pushed her away. She did not want to be with me, and she ended things, and that broke me and sent me into a dark, dark place. Soon after that, I was just that lost soul again, going to parties.
Well, I mean, once again, Rain didn't say any of this. This is stuff. What he's saying right here has literally nothing to do with anything Banks, Rain, anyone has said so far. This has nothing to do with it. But let's see where he goes with it.
And just being a fool. And then one day I go to New York, and I go to this club that's 21 plus, and I link up with a buddy there, and he invites a couple girls, and I end up going back with these girls. We're all shit-faced, and I end up going back with these girls
Not relevant.
to my hotel room. I slept with one of them, and I found out after that this girl was 17. And that's the age of consent in New York. But regardless, I was sick to my stomach. It was just extremely uncomfortable knowing that and thinking about the situation. And that was it. And so shortly after that, or however long after that, Emma and I got back together, and I was fully working on myself and becoming a better man, and doing what I have to do to to heal myself and heal like all the trauma that I had, and just work on myself on being a better man. And
Not relevant.
not
Once again,
not too long after that, I proposed. And a few months later, we found out she's pregnant, and now I realize I have a child on the way, so I have to put my self-growth in overdrive, because my child does not deserve to live a life where he picks
None
up
of
the
this is
bad
relevant.
habits that I had growing up. And so the
None
last
of this is relevant.
few years of
whatsoever.
my life have been on super fixated on just becoming a better man, husband, and
That's fine.
and father.
But this has
That's
nothing to
been my
do with
number
Rain
one
or Banks.
focus, and it's something that I needed for myself. And I wish that I started earlier. I wish that I didn't put the love of my life through all the things that I put her through, and that was it. And so this allegation of me being called a pedophile is fucking insane. Anybody that knows me knows I am not a pedophile or even anything close to that, including Norden himself. So this is something that is going to follow me around forever. And it's just sick, because people on the internet will take things and twist it into something that it isn't, and just keep running with it. And now I just have to deal with the repercussions, and so that's the unfortunate part about this reality. But that's it. I mean, there was nothing else to it than that.
But yeah, Temper admits that he
Okay. So first off, all the stuff that he was talking about how he was in a dark place and he pushed his girl away, whatever, being shit-faced or drunk that night, how, I have to work on self-growth, I have a kid on the way. Every single one of those things is completely irrelevant to what Rain and Banks is talking about. And in my opinion, to me, it seems like self-justification, in a sense. You're responsible for your actions. It's as simple as that. And saying that you're in a bad place in your life is not a defense for your actions. Okay? It's just not. It's that simple. I understand people can be in a bad place. If you're taken to court legally, if you say to a jury that, I'm in a bad place in my life right now, and that led me to this. And it's like, that can be true, but you still did something wrong. You can do something wrong. You're not exempt from your actions because you're in a bad place. At all. So all of that, and by the way, Rain and Banks, neither of them even brought up any problems with him in his life. They never brought that up. Okay? He chose to bring that up, which to me makes it seem like a justification for actions. Now, he admitted that yes, he was with a 17-year-old girl. He admitted to it. Okay? And at the end of the day, legally, consent-wise, sure. You can have that as a justification in your mind, okay? But I think that for a lot of people, everyone can agree, mostly, that what matters is maturity in a person, okay? Not the fact that, the law says this. It's like, okay, that's fine. And now forever, right? You have to own that, right? At the end of the day, if that was something, and he also said this, that it ate him up, and that that he felt horrible. And if you really felt that way, you would have said it. Like, you would have came out and stood on your actions if that was something that you believed you wasn't wrong. I mean, truthfully, in my opinion, okay? I think, in my opinion, deep down that he knows that he shouldn't have done that. Now, also, he said he didn't know her age before being with her, which, to me, is on you. That's your fault. And you said you're in a 21-plus club. Okay, yeah, that's fine. You still did those actions. Once again, the person you are and the things that led up to that does not take away the fact that you still did it. It doesn't erase the fact you did it at all. Now, can you say he's a pedo or whatever? Can you say that he's fine behind the law? Technically, sure. Do I think that he knows that he did? If it's eating you up, if it's something that eats you up, it's something that you regret. You don't regret things that you don't get eaten up by something that is a good thing, that it makes you happy, that is something that gratifies you. Okay? So I think even to him, in his own mind, he knows that he did something wrong. If he did nothing wrong, he would have admitted it. Okay? But he didn't. But I want to see what guy here has to say.
He did, in fact, sleep with someone who was 17. He goes...
And also, I do want to say that earlier on, it did say that Rain did say that he was with two 16-year-olds. He did say the word 16-year-olds. So, who knows if the girl at the time was actually 17 or not. We still don't technically know.
Goes, you know, age of consent in New York, 17. And he was a lot older. I don't know the exact age he was. It's kind of not been shared or like clearly stated, but Temper's 32 years old, and they are saying this was told a couple years ago, at least 3 or 4 years ago. So even being generous, he was around
26,
28 years old, sleeping
27.
with a 17-year-old, which to me, that is creepy behavior. Now, he has a story that he was in his 21 plus club, you know. These girls were in the club and he didn't know because he assumed they're 21. Like, stuff like this, you need to check, you need to see. And because Temper like lied and came out of that response trying to make Rain out to like not be credible, I don't know how much I believe Temper's story now, especially because apparently he told Rain, first of all, he had a 3-way with 2 underage girls and now it's just 1 underage. You know, there's so much here now that's muddied, and you know, you can't, there's never going to be any proof, so it's just, you know, Temper versus Rain. However, what we do know is that
Rain a confession
was telling this story that has been confirmed by FaZe Banks and now confirmed by Temper, whereas if Temper had it his way and certain details didn't come out, Temper wouldn't have done anything or even admitted this. Now,
he would have never said anything.
You can label him as a pedophile. You know, the word pedophile has been so lost in the recent years with YouTubers and allegations. Do I think this guy goes around looking for kids? No. Do I blame FaZe Rain for leaving FaZe after finding that out, that Tommy kind of said it to him and admitted this to him? And FaZe Rain,
you can't blame
was
him.
Told it was a threesome with 2 underage girls. Yeah, I wouldn't want to associate myself with anyone like that either. It's just completely fucked. And the thing is, like, it's just, why is there always just some shit? Like, no matter what, like, it could be anyone. It could be fucking FaZe Clan or this influencer you would never expect. And then suddenly these allegations pour out years later and, you know, it becomes a thing. It's just never ending. What do you guys think down below? Thanks for watching. Now, fuck off and get out.
Come learn the art of money making.
Okay, well, that's a way to end your video. Well, final summary. Like you said, you can't technically call him a pedophile or whatnot. And there's never going to be true concrete evidence or whatever. It's always going to be Rain said this, Temper said that. But Temper admitted to being with a 17-year-old. And you can stay behind the law, but you can't blame people for not associating with you or not liking you for admitting that you were with a 17-year-old, regardless of the story, regardless of all of your past actions, who you were in the past. You cannot blame anyone for having that opinion of you. You have to own your actions. And like the guy said, Temper had years to come out and admit to this himself. But he didn't. And then the first reaction, he said that Rain brought this up to FaZe. Okay? And that Rain brought this up to FaZe at the time because he wanted money. Knowing full well that Rain had a reason to bring this up to FaZe. So that I don't understand. But it is what it is. Do I like him or not? I don't know him. I wouldn't associate myself with him. No, I wouldn't associate myself with somebody who admits to doing something like that. I wouldn't. But that's just me. You can form but you should form your own opinions. Okay, form your own opinions. Don't listen to something that somebody said and then believe it. Okay. But yeah, that's crazy.